Not everyone who is anyone in Hollywood is in Hollywood tonight. With me here in our New York studios is director Robert Altman, whose films have included Nashville and McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Popeye and MASH, and who has spent much of the last decade working outside of Hollywood. Now, his newest movie is The Player. It's not out yet, coming out very soon, and it's a caustic portrait of deal-making and greed inside Hollywood, and it's a good thriller as well. I saw it, and it's terrific. You saw the Oscars, so we were watching them back here tonight. Now, is that politics that decides who gets an Oscar?
No, it's not politics. It's you know, there's I don't know, 5,000 members of the Academy, and you know, they vote. And I don't think their votes are bought. They're certainly bargained for. There's certainly a lot of advertising that goes on. I think everybody knows, just from the fact that it's a big show it is, that it's big business.
Well, you know, I know what I read, and everybody was writing, well, Nick Nolte's going to have to win because he hasn't won anything in the past, and besides, they think he's a nice guy now, and he's had some hard times. He's going to win. It was Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, well, I don't think it. I think that those votes are very legitimate, and I think that people they think the studios want to. You know, they spend a lot of money on the ads, and they think they can lobby people.
But your point is that at bottom of all of this, it is an advertisement.
Well, I mean, the reason it has become a big commercial thing. I mean, this picture will now reopen, even though it's out on video, and they'll get Silence of the Lambs will, because it was a suite, and it'll go on to do big business. And the people involved in it, their salaries will go up. They'll become more in demand. If Jodie Foster, everybody from now on, like we do in the Player. Every pitch tomorrow, that's starting tomorrow, they'll say, no, this would be a good part for Jodie Foster, and as far as Jonathan Demme's a perfect guy to direct it, and so suddenly their stock goes up, and that's the result of it.
Any critic who talks about movies that have been influential in Hollywood is going to mention MASH, is going to mention McCabe and Mrs. Miller, and Nashville, and there are a string of other films that have had a tremendous impact. But you have spent the past 10 years out of Hollywood. In fact, you've been working in France.
Yeah, but I do that that's my own choice. I mean, I think I get this reputation of being expatriate and being that people don't appreciate me, and I'm a poor me. But it's not true. I mean, I can't think, and you can't name another film director dead or alive that's had a better shake or a better career than I have.
Right, but
what is my complaint?
The rap is that you went over there because there were troubles in Hollywood.
No. I have a hard time making the films that I want to make. I still have a hard time making the films I want to make. Hollywood and myself are really basically the establishment in Hollywood. We're in a different business. They're in the business of manufacturing films that they can market. And I'm in the business of trying to make a film that excites me and occurs to me as being dicey or something new. It's something we haven't seen before. I feel that what people want to see, and I think all this marketing research, and marketing is basically the hair and the butter. This is what's hurt us. If you're in line and somebody comes up with a clipboard and says, what movie do you want to see most? What you can't tell them, because what you really want to see is something you've never seen before. And you can't say that. So these guys that sit there and make these decisions on where they're going to spend the money, because it's a lot of money, it takes a lot of money. They say, well, we want something that we're pretty sure. So that's why you start seeing all the numbers appear after the film. Sequels. Number, so-and-so, 3, 4, 5. Eventually, the ink doesn't print anymore. And so when they run out of copies to make, they've got to turn back, and they say, where do we start with something to copy? They have to turn back to the artist. And like Jonathan Demme said in his speech tonight, receiving the Best Director's Award, which I congratulate him for. I think it was a wonderful film, and I think he certainly deserves it. But he congratulated the new film directors, these kids that are coming up. And they have to turn to them, and they'll always be there, artists.
Well, we read books like The Devil's Candy, which said it was just a terrible mess and a deep craziness
That was a
running on.
very, I don't know Judy Solomon, and I don't know much about that, but I know a lot of the players in the book, and that was a very truthful book, I think. Everything I read really smelled of the truth.
It was about the making of a Hollywood
Bonfire,
film.
yeah.
Bonfire of the Bandits, which was a terrible disaster. My point is that we hear about how awful it is in Hollywood, and how it's all about greed, and it's all about pushing and pulling and power, and who gets the best table at Morton's and all this sort of stuff. Is it that bad?
It's absolutely true. Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, these people are, first place, they start to believe themselves. People, they get into a great sense of power. The community, what we call Hollywood, is a very small community. And everybody wants in. Everybody wants in. And they scratch and they scratch and they scratch. And when somebody gets in a position of power, they exercise it.
How difficult is it to get a good movie made?
Well, I think it's very, very difficult. I think it's an accident when it happens. I can only speak for myself, and consequently it becomes very subjective. I mean, I have about 5 good movies right now that I like to make. I can't get anybody to finance any of them.
But is that because some people think that you're tough to work with, or is that because they think that your films don't make money because they haven't been huge money makers?
No, that's basically what it is. They say, I don't have a record of making a great deal of money with films, although MASH made a lot of money. Popeye, in spite of what everybody says, made a lot of money. But they're looking for, everybody's shooting for the brass ring. Orion Pictures that produced The Silence of the Lambs, which swept this thing tonight, and they're out of business. They've gone belly up for some reason. They've gone broke.
All right, I want you to talk about the problems with the studios when we come back right after this.
Okay.
There goes the baker with his tray like always. The same old bread and rolls to sell. Every morning just the same, since the morning that we came to this poor provincial town. Good morning, monsieur.
Well, there she goes